And thus we come to verse 16 through 19. It says, Then Samuel said unto Saul, Stay, and I will tell you what the Lord has said unto me this night. And he said unto him, Say on. And Samuel said, When thou wast little in thine own sight, wast thou not made head of the tribes of Israel? And the Lord anointed thee king over Israel? And the Lord sent thee on a journey and said, Go, and utterly destroy the sinners, the Amalekites, and fight against them until they be consumed. Wherefore then didst thou not obey the voice of the Lord, but didst fly upon the spoil and didst evil in the sight of the Lord? So I want you to see here that God elevated Saul. He blessed Saul. God brought Saul from a little to a lot. Saul was a Benjamite. He was a tiny tribe in Israel. They didn't have a lot going on. And somehow he was king. God made him king. God sent Saul on a journey to glorify God, not Saul, by destroying the Amalekites. So what did Saul do with his elevated position as king? What did he do with the blessing of God on his life? He flew upon the spoil. He did evil in the sight of the Lord. He came upon all that wealth, and he just had to have it for himself. And we do the same thing today. Matthew 5:45 tells us that God rains down blessings on both the just and the unjust. And it seems that sometimes the just act just like the unjust and ignore God when those blessings materialize, don't we? We don't give God the glory for it. You know, God is elevating some of you today. He's sending some of you on new journeys. Maybe you're building new relationships with people. Maybe you're rebuilding damaged ones. Maybe your career is taking a positive turn. Maybe you've gotten a good report from the doctor. The new medicine's working. You're closing in on accomplishing your next big dream. And when those blessings materialize, are you going to take them for yourself, as Saul did? Or are you going to take those blessings to the Lord? Are you going to give them back to him? Are you going to return that praise to him? Will you obey the voice of the Lord in your life? Or how are you going to handle that bleeding sheep? How are you going to handle that bleeding sheep? The vice in your life, as I said earlier, that's your responsibility to address. God is not going to force you to drop it. God did not strike the sheep and the oxen dead when Saul and the people decided to keep them instead of following God's commands. He let them hold on to it. But looking at this scripture, I think you know as well as I do that God wanted their obedience more than he wanted their sheep. And I stand before you today and I tell you, when you have identified that bleeding sheep in your life, you have to get rid of it. You own the fact that you've made a mistake. You ask God for forgiveness. You get rid of the sheep and you move past it. Because as long as you are still breathing, there's a decision in your heart. There's a decision in your life to reject the flesh and to follow the Lord. Let the new journey that God is taking you on be one that glorifies him and not you.